Right. Welcome back to Gugu's Garage, where we review all things automotive, all things motoring essentially. So anything on wheels, we drive it, we ride it, we review it. And today we're doing things slightly differently. So about a month or so ago, I brought you a video of an Alfa Romeo GTV, a red one. And a lot of people liked the video. It was a retro review, which not a lot of people are doing, just by the way. Let me just close this window here. Much better. So not a lot of people are doing retro old school reviews, but there's an audience for that. You know, someone wants to see that. You maybe want to watch a video of an Alfa Romeo GTV. You may be thinking of buying one. You may have owned one in the past. So that's what this is about. This is a retro review where we're going back in time and reviewing something from the past that people may like and probably did like back in the past. So this week we're in the Opel Monza. This is an old car. My father had one, and yeah, I think it was his first car. Maybe your dad had one. So a lot of people had a Monza in the family, but the point is, everyone seems to have had a Monza in the family, and I had one in the family as well. This is long before I was born. This vehicle specifically is an 80s vehicle. The Monza came out in 1985, believe it or not. So it is an old car, but the units in question, the car I'm driving today, only has 60,000 kilometers on the clock. That's incredible. It's a brand new car. So if you look at this in terms of interior, it's so well preserved. It is a brand spanking new car. There's not a crack on the dashboard. It still looks and feels like the day it came out of the factory. It still has the original cassette player radio. So you don't find that in many old cars. People simply upgrade the vehicle and try to make them more modernized, obviously with a CD player, Bluetooth and all that kind of stuff. Obviously the seats here are covered in cloth, as you can clearly see. It looks really good. It looks really retro, and there's not a tear in the seats, but it makes me wonder, and maybe you can answer this if you were around back in the day, did this come with the option of leather seats? In this day and age, cars come with that option. You can opt for leather seats. Some of them are standard with leather seats, but I was just wondering, was it an option back in the day? Maybe not. So let me know if you know. Believe it or not, but this was a very good looking car back in the day. Personally, right now, I can't see it, obviously, because I've been exposed to much better looking cars, right? But the guys that bought them back in the day, this was a good looking car. Everywhere I drive this Monza, older people, or mature people, let's put it that way, they salute, give a thumbs up, pay a compliment, which shows you that people actually liked this thing and they actually bought it. So this was the car that you bought. You had the Cadet and you had the Monza. The Monza was the sensible option, obviously being a sedan, and the Cadet was the fun car. That was the hot hatch of the day. You had the 200 TS and the Super Boss in the Cadets. Those cars were proper performance cars back in the day, and I believe the South African Flying Squad also used, I don't know whether it was a Super Boss or whether it was a 200 TS, but one of the two was part of the South African police force. That's what they used to chase down the bad guys. So speaking of performance and performance cars, I want to tell you about how this car drives. So obviously it predates me, the Monza predates me, the Cadet predates me, and it's all cars that I would never have driven until now. And getting into the Monza for me was sort of like okay, cool, I'll drive it, I'll review it. But my goodness, this thing has a 1.6 litre, 1600 petrol engine, 4-cylinder, and the amount of pull that this car has is just mind-blowing for a car that was produced in the 80s. This car really does pull, and to the point where I even got my dad to drive the car, and he was just smiling all the way, because obviously he owned one back in the day, and he used to speak about the performance and how much it pulled, and I've now got to experience that performance, and I'm thoroughly impressed. It really does go. It's the kind of car I could personally drive on a daily. It feels good. The only thing that would deter me from actually driving this and using it daily is the fact that it doesn't have power steering. So this doesn't have power steering, and obviously that was the norm back in the day. A lot of cars didn't have power steering. So when this car is idling, the dash literally vibrates and makes a noise. That was a standard feature in the car, not power steering. What made it such a great family car, besides the fact that it was a sedan, offered good performance, was an affordable car, like I said, the boot. So the boot in this car is massive. I can fit in that boot and just chill in there and lie in there. That's how big the boot is in this, and it makes you understand why people actually bought them back in the day as family cars. The interesting thing about a car like this is that if you put someone who was born in the early 2000s, late 90s, there are certain things that they probably won't be able to relate to. One of them I mentioned is a cassette player over here. The other one is wind up windows. So modern cars don't have windows where you have to do this to open and close them, and mirrors where you have to adjust manually like that. So this would be an interesting car for someone who was born in the 2000s, just got their license. Everything here would likely be foreign, completely foreign. Now, if you liked this review, enjoyed it, and found value in it, give us a like, and I promise you there'll be many more reviews like this of old classic cars. Proudly brought to you by CHANGECARS, which is the sponsor for this channel. We are growing the brand All Things Motoring, which is the channel itself. There's so many improvements coming, so many big things coming for the channel, which you're going to see in due time.